there's a lot of pressure on Billy Napier going into 2024. He's in year 3. His first 2 seasons have not been that great. Year 1, 6 wins. You get whacked by Oregon State in your bowl game. And then year 2, you're expecting to go up. Because progress, you expect to always be going upwards. But you know what they say, sometimes progress isn't always linear. And with Billy Napier going into his 3rd season at Florida, this has to be the season where the progress isn't stagnant and the progress isn't going down. Florida has to win some games. And he's in a really difficult situation to win those games because Florida has probably the toughest schedule in all of college football this year. Like, there's a stretch where after their bye week, they have to play Georgia in the Florida-Georgia game. They go on the road to play Texas, have to play LSU right after that, Ole Miss, and then travel on the road to play Florida State. And even before their bye week, they got to play Tennessee on the road. Then they got to play Kentucky. Hell, they start the season out playing the Hurricanes, man. It is not going to be easy for Billy Napier to make a strong first impression in this 3rd season. Well, first impression, I wouldn't even call it a first impression anymore. He's trying to make a good impression to save his job is what I'm trying to say. Because if he isn't able to get you to 7 wins this season, with how tough the SEC is, you wonder if he even is going to be the right guy to get another season for you. And I get that, there are a lot of obstacles that Billy Napier has had to overcome internally with Florida. The NIL back-end wasn't always ideal when he first got there. And then we saw how ugly the Jalen Rashada situation turned out. But at the same time, there are things that Billy Napier has to make changes to. And he's made those changes. He's brought in some new coaches. Maybe he gives up play calling responsibilities. Hopefully he does because he's not really good at it. Austin Armstrong, he hired him last season as his defensive coordinator, and we didn't really see too much improvement on that side of the ball. So we expect to see some improvement this season with Austin Armstrong going into year 2. And Florida, even though they do have a lot of unproven players, they do have a lot of talent. All right. The recruiting for Billy Napier has not been up to expectations. And I was really shocked to see that they only finished in the 12 to 18 range in recruiting the last couple of years, because the last 2 years in July, August, they always had so much recruiting momentum. And then as the season progresses, the momentum just seems to die off and the recruiting classes just seem to fall apart. And if Billy Napier isn't recruiting at a high level and he's not producing on the field, then you have to part ways with him after this season. You fired Dan Mullen for getting you to a SEC championship. So anything less than that is a fireable offense. And Dan Mullen wasn't even considered to be that great of a coach, not because he wasn't great on the field, but because he wasn't that great of a recruiter. Well, his recruiting classes were no worse than what Billy Napier's are right now. Like, Billy Napier should be recruiting at a top 10, top 5 level at Florida. Like, you can say, well, the NIL stuff and everything that he may have to deal with internally that may be holding him back. But come on, man, it's Florida. It's the swamp that you play at. You're playing and you're coaching at an iconic program. And you're coaching and recruiting in one of the most talent-rich states in all of the nation. As a matter of fact, the most talented. Come on, man. Like, Billy Napier has to get it together. And I don't know if he is. And I really like Billy Napier. I really do, because weirdly, I used to watch a lot of games when he was coaching at Louisiana. And it was really weird because I just had a strong liking to Elijah Mitchell, and they always were playing on ABC. So I'm rooting for Billy Napier to succeed, but right now, It just seems like he has his back against the wall and he's praying for a miracle. And he really does need a miracle because with this schedule, oh my goodness. I'm trying to tell you, like, they had it out for Billy Napier this year. After their bye week, they have to play Georgia on the road against Texas, LSU at home, Ole Miss, then on the road against FSU. That is sick. That is so sick. Does it piss you off how much you pay for your monthly phone bill? Why are you getting frustrated when our partner Mint Mobile has plans as low as $15 a month that give you unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network? Stop getting frustrated with how much you spend on your monthly phone bill and go to trymintmobile.com/JT Sports and description and pin comment down below to get access to premium wireless for only $15 a month. That's only $15 a month. Switching to Mint is easy. It only takes 15 minutes to do. If you're pissed off with how much you pay for your monthly phone bill, switch to Mint Mobile today and go to trymintmobile.com/JT Sports in description and pin comment down below to get premium wireless for only $15 a month. Stop getting upset with how much you spend on your monthly phone bill and switch to Mint Mobile today. If Billy Napier ends up winning 9 games, he has to win Coach of the Year. He has to win it. Because it just seems like all the odds are stacked against him. You got a team that's fairly young, fairly unproven. You got a lot of questions with your coaching staff. Hell, you got a lot of questions about you. And the Florida season starts off with the loss to Miami. It's not going to be good for the rest of the season. And the reason why I say that is because games like those can be so important because it can dictate how you start the season off. If you can win your first game against your rival, do you not know how much momentum and confidence that gives your team moving forward? That's what you need when you have this tough of a schedule. You need to pull out some miracles. And it doesn't matter how Billy Napier wins this year. He doesn't need to win in impressive fashion. He just needs to find ways to win. It needs to be ugly. It has to be. And it's going to be. Because they don't really have a lot of talent that gives you a lot of optimism that says, oh yeah, like Florida is going to be able to explode offensively. Or they're going to be a team that can win with their defense. They don't really have identity. And that's something that this team has struggled to find under Billy Napier. Not just that, but every time you watch them, they just find ways to beat themselves. So this season for Billy Napier, it's do or die. It's win or go home. Because if you can't find a way to win with this schedule, how are you ever going to find a way to win? Because you can't say, oh, we had such a tough schedule. When you're going to have a tough schedule every single season because it's just the SEC. It's just that, next season, you probably will get blessed with a couple of more home games. Because it sucks that some of your most important games, you got to go on the road. But for Billy Napier, man, it's no more excuses. You've been at Florida for 3 years. All right, you got your guys in. You should have those guys recruited. Those guys getting on the field, and they should be producing. And you got to make the right hires. And you got to get better with the play calling. So if Billy Napier has another season where they don't win more than 6 games, I think it's wraps. I mean, Shane Beamer overachieved at South Carolina. And it's way, way more difficult to win at South Carolina than it is to win at Florida. Imagine if Florida had Shane Beamer right now. They probably could have damn near been second place in the SEC next year. He's just one of those guys that knows how to win. Billy Napier, I believe he knows how to win, but can he find the right way to win? That's the question with him. And that's what's going to define if we're having this conversation about Billy Napier at the end of the year. And if we're going to be discussing if he's going to be back for another season, if he's going to get fired, if he doesn't already get fired throughout the season. I mean, you can say, well, his buyout, JT, listen, when it comes to all the money that's coming in and out of college football, I don't really think that a buyout is too big of a concern when it comes to a school like Florida, potentially.